This episode of Says Who is brought to you by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. That's our Patreon, where pretty much every Sunday you get this all over again. You get me and Maureen doing a little thing we call the Town Watch. That's if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level. That $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail. Because you become a member of the Says Who Sticker Club, and every sticker is great. I last night, Maureen, in a unexpected fit of something, began to sketch out the October sticker, which usually doesn't happen for quite a while. Well, I remembered, thankfully, that traditionally October is the month of our traditional Says Boo sticker. So if you want to get that sticker, you only got a few more days to get into the Patreon. So because Oct 1 is
traditions.
Who gets, we do. So
you can have a multi-year collection of Says Who stickers.
You can get yeah. It's a few years back now of Says
How
Booze.
many stickers are there?
A lot. I mean, there's 12 a year, and I think we've been doing this for at least 3 years. So 36 at a minimum. They're just in boxes behind me there.
We should have a display wall. You know, you can what you can collect.
The best thing is somebody, Janice was telling me, somebody on the Facebook asked, like, oh, when did such a such sticker come out? And she asked me, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I literally don't keep track of it, which is dumb. And then somebody was like, oh, I have a whole database of them, and then posted their like Google Doc where they track exactly what sticker on what. Yeah, and I was like, that is impressive. So thank you, person.
We need to start making these valuable and collectible.
It's true. Oh, they're valuable in my heart.
I know, but like money valuable.
Oh, so yeah. I don't know how to do that. We can buy a
compound.
That would be nice. Anyway, all of that is available to you at patreon.com/sayswho.
My favorite valuable, money valuable.
Yeah, I like this new Maureen Johnson. She's all, show me the money, bitch.
I want it in crypto. I would like to turn our stickers into NFTs.
Done.
That's a great thing about NFTs is you can basically just do that.
They only go up in value.
They're NFTs now.
The best thing about NFTs is somebody else could do it and then be like, sorry, they're mine.
Yeah. Stands out, stands for no fucking thing. So you can just have anything you want.
I think the only people still in the NFT market are the Trumps and this one dude I follow on Instagram, and that's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone bought an ape all the celebrities bought apes for $2 million, $3 million?
Yeah.
And now they're all worth $1.99.
I think that it's been proven at this point that they were given those apes and claimed to have bought them.
Oh, was it? I don't follow the NFT sort of trail enough.
Yeah, you got to get on it, Maureen.
I know. I got to get involved.
Let me tell you, you get in early. And then you find some other people. Tell them to get in early. It's great.
So Gwyneth just claimed that she spent $2 million on her?
Maybe she spent some money, but there was definitely, it was a promotional thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So she lied. Did she lie?
I think she kind of does that.
What?
I know.
But what about all these jade eggs I bought?
You bought?
Yeah, no, but they were promotional.
You're just full of jade eggs right now?
Dan, I am bottom heavy.
You just walk around sounded like a bag of rocks.
They'll hatch someday. I call this the reverse mother of dragons.
Do you want to tell people about books, Maureen?
What's there to say except books?
This is what I'll say about books.
Okay.
I'm reading a book right now.
Okay.
It's called Death at Morning House.
Oh boy.
It's really good. And the last few days have been particularly busy. And I've done a thing a couple nights, not in a row, but Saturday night and then last night. I went to bed, Maureen, at 9 o'clock. It was fucking great.
Yes. Recommend.
And what that meant is a rare day that my eyes still work. So I was able to really plow through. And last night, I was like, this is great because I'm at the climax of this book called Death at Morning House. And I'm going to be able to finish it. And Maureen, my eyes decided with 15 pages to go that they would not work anymore.
Yep.
So I am hanging by a precipice on this book.
So you don't know what's going on.
I'm excited to finish it tonight. It's a very good book, and just this is a purely random coincidence. You wrote it.
Yeah, I did.
And people could buy it. It's really good.
Also, I was going to say that St. Louis, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Monday, September 30th, 7 p.m., in conjunction with the novel Neighbor. I will be there making up my COVID appearance, but just doing an appearance, having fun, partying, talking about Stanley Cup accessories. The actual event will be held at the library. There's information if you go to, I actually have to update my site, but it's on Instagram. It's on the Novel Neighbor site. It's like all over the place. But it's actually being held at the library in a bigger event space because the bookstore's small.
Because you're that goddamn popular is why.
The bookstore doesn't have like a big event space, so they use.
You guys should have held it at the top of the arch.
It's you know what? It's a little slippy, but the way down is amazing.
Yeah.
Can you climb the arch?
They have these really weird 1960s round elevator pods that you get that are inside the arch.
What?
And you get in them. They're tiny. Smartly, they have them outside. They have like an example one outside, so you can test whether you have the metal to handle this like claustrophobic space where you're largely in the dark. But they are round, and you get in at the base of the arch, and then they drive up the arch inside, and they're rotating the whole time because it's an arch, right? That's why they are like round. And then there's like a little observatory area at the top, and then you take your little round cart back down.
Did you do it?
Hell no. Not in a million fucking years. No. I don't need that shit in my life.
It's like a little bucket they put you in, and
basically a little round bucket. They basically put you in the tumbler of a dryer and drive you up. It's like the greatest engineering that 1964 ever had. I'm pretty sure they broke down the other day, and people were stuck in them for a while.
So I want to get involved.
Yeah, you want it. You want in on that shit.
I want to look this up.
St. Louis is actually a great town. There's a thing called the City Museum in St. Louis that sounds very official, like, oh, the City Museum, but it was made by a dude who was like, you know what would be awesome? Let me buy this old shoe factory, and I'm going to just make weird shit in it. And I'm going to just let kids climb on it and whatever. There's like this whole outdoor area that's just wrought iron shit welded together. And it's like 5 stories tall, and you can just climb around on shit. There's like a school bus welded in everywhere. But I think the reason that he bought it was a shoe factory, and there are chutes that they used to send like the shoes down, and those are available to ride as slides. One of them, I think, is 10 stories.
What?
And you just down it. It is absolutely wild. You sign a waiver when you get in that's basically like, I'm not going to sue you if I get hurt or my children die. And it is so much fun. But it is madness. We went once when our now big one was, I don't know, 7 or something. And within 5 minutes, he was like, oh, look at that. And he crawls through a crack in the floor. And I'm like, I can't follow you, so I'm just going to assume that you're going to show up somewhere at some point. And finally he did. It's great. The City Museum is great. The same guy bought I think a concrete factory on the river there and was going to turn it into another place that I think he was going to call Cement Town. And he was by himself bulldozing some giant pile of something when his bulldozer rolled over and he died.
I'll tell you what, though. That guy knew how to live.
Oh, he definitely knew how to live. And he made an incredible thing. Like, the City Museum is truly a remarkable place. They occasionally, I don't even know, maybe they do it all the time now. Well, the last time I went, there was sort of an occasional, it was maybe once a month or whatever, they would be open at night and they would turn off all the lights and they would give you a flashlight and serve alcohol.
I'm looking, okay. Yeah. I could not be more excited now.
You should get there early and go to the City Museum, Maureen. It is worth it. It is madness.
What if I miss my appearance because I crawl through a hole in the floor and never reemerge?
It's possible. It's entirely possible.
Is that a parent's like kind of weird nightmares? Like, I was with my kid, he crawled through a hole in the floor and I never saw him again? Is that 100%, kind of
100%? Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
Books.
If you want to buy them, you can always go to kickbezosintheballs.org. That's our own little bookshop. And if you're on the internet, go to merch.sayswhopodcast.com where we sell Says Who merchandise, or go to shop.dansinker.com where I sell some patches. But mostly, if you're on the internet and you are listening to podcasts, I would beg you to listen to Rebel Spirit, the podcast that I have produced with the one and only Akilah Hughes about her attempts to change her high school's racist mascot into a biscuit. And it is awesome. The 4th episode is out right now this week. It is one of my very favorites.
It's incredible.
Please give it a listen. Rebel Spirit, the internet, the end. We're 12 minutes in and we've just finished the ads.
Well, when you're doing this kind of quality, it's not ads. It's hellos.
It's hellos.
It's a hellos.
It's hellos. Hey, we're just saying hello here.
Hey, here's a Mr. Shh, don't tell anybody it's a meatball. Could name a meatball.
All right,
I don't know. You can hear a little sound in the background.
No, I can't because you have a new microphone and it's fantastic.
There's doors being shut.
Well, I do hear that.
There was an answering machine being gone through.
Perfect.
Though you might hear a phone ringing.
Yeah.
Because I'm in Pennsylvania.
You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say welcome to Says Who, the podcast that isn't a podcast. Yeah, you're so sad now. I beat you to the welcome. Look at how sad. Look at that sad little frompy face.
It's a coping strategy. I'm Maureen Johnson.
And I am Dan Sinker. This is the greatest day of my life. You are, I mean, you already said it.
Yeah.
But I will also say, judging by the novelty collectible buildings balanced on the window frame behind you, you are at your parents' house.
I am.
Enjoying, I would assume, a nice, restful getaway from the hustle and bustle of the mean streets of New York City. A good way to get some work done. Now, when last we spoke, you talked about how you were taking a couple of weeks for you to reset and recharge. I would assume that this has gone perfectly. You are now about to head back home today, rested, changed, a new woman.
How dare you? How?
No?
I am actually. I just looked down. I'm flicking some flour stuff off my hands because my father wanted an apple pie. So last night, I'm not a pie baker, Dan. I'm a cook,
Okay.
but I don't bake very often.
Yeah.
But I said I would do this.
Mm-hmm.
So last night, starting around 6:30, I got a recipe off one of my favorite cooking sites. A bit complex, but I wanted to do it all properly. Yeah, and I made an apple pie. I made the dough. I did the whole bake off thing where you wrap it, chill it,
Yeah.
and then I prepped the apples and I did this procedure that they recommended and rolled it out. So my first actual homemade, I've probably done one a long
Yeah,
time
you could
ago,
have
but
just gone to Kroger and bought a pie.
no, I said I was going to make one. And also,
Okay.
I like a cooking project, so I
Okay.
wanted to see how this turned out.
Yeah.
And I think it turned out pretty well.
Well, that's good.
I sat and stared at that thing like it was my very own child, and I watched it in the oven, and I had to keep adjusting the cooking times like they do on Bake Off because that wasn't ready. So I was like, I'm going to give it 10 more minutes. And then I sampled a little piece of the crust last night, and Dan, flaky
Yeah.
as fuck. Flaky as fuck, like just absolutely crumbled, like in the right way. I was pleased. I was very
Well, that's
pleased, Dan.
great.
Yeah, I was happy.
Did you have a soggy bottom?
No, but it's hard to tell with apple pie because it is so saturated.
Pretty soggy, period.
But it still had a consistency. But the side crust, top crust was good. I'll send you a picture of it. I'm pretty proud.
I would love to see it. There's nothing that makes me more jealous of the UK than when I'm watching Bake Off and they're making savory pies.
I cut out a little heart. I put a little heart in the middle.
No.
Yeah, made a whole thing. It looked. The edging was like cute rustic, but not like that perfect crimping. But
Okay.
But I was pleased with it.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was happy.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Everything has gone great.
Yeah, so you did, in fact, have a very restful, very good time. You've learned new skills.
Well,
learned new things about yourself.
There have been one or two things, Dan. One or two.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have expected that.
First, obviously, I've done a Trump count of signs.
Oh, yeah. How's that looking?
This street, I've only seen Trump signs. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
One person had a very subtle Harris, lawn, more like a lawn ornament thing with a little, it looked like something you'd buy at Home Goods more as opposed to a sign.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's on a little metal post, and it's kind of a little flapping
it's
banner.
Almost like a little flag thing.
Yeah, but it's attached to it.
Should say the Harris family or whatever.
Right, but this says Kamala, but it's in rainbow letters, and it's like this. But you have to almost look for it because it's not a overt sign. It's only because I was eagle eyes down the street.
I mean, I will say one of the things that's interesting about the sign thing is we ordered a Harris Waltz sign the night that Waltz was announced, right? So the moment that they had them available, and we got it last week, so the merch is slow.
This area,
and so
if they're going to have it anywhere, they're going to have it here.
No, definitely. But in our neighborhood, which is, solidly blue, almost every Waltz sign is homemade or probably bought from Etsy or something like that. Or I will say our representative, Jan Schakowsky, in a brilliant move, created her own Harris Waltz signs that look quite similar, though using DeFont fonts, and then put her name at the bottom. So there are a lot of those around. And I was like, I tip my hat to you, Jan. That was a brilliant move.
There are, along with the normal campaign signs, my one neighbor has a Trump sign so he has a very long kind of front lawn, because I think they own kind of 2 plots. So it's every 10 feet, there's a different color. Like there's the blue sign, and then there's like a red version of it. Then interspersed with those is they've made a photo sign that's Trump in the little bloody fist pose.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
And
That's
it says
good.
Fight.
Good.
So they've got several of those.
Love it.
And then on the biggest, emptiest part of the frontage, they have a flagpole with a Trump flag.
Okay.
So they really wanted to make sure people... Yeah.
They're doing the thing.
Also, our neighbor on the corner, who is a good friend of ours, has a giant... They got one of those corner banners because, they live on the corner. Like, you want a sign that's 6 feet long? So they have a 6-foot Trump sign on their front lawn.
Oh, well, that's nice. Those are some good friends.
The thing is that guy, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. No, that's the trouble.
Yeah.
This guy is like the volunteer. Like, he's the person that if you have trouble in the middle of the night, he just gets out of bed and comes down and helps you. And he's like a fireman and I saw a lot of stickers on the fire trucks. But I mean, this is a guy we've known for a long time, and he's truly like, do you need my shirt? Here's my shirt. Wow. And yet, here we are.
And yet.
Which is often the way, Dan.
Yet.
This is the way, Dan, that these things go. Also, Dan, I did get into it with my, we're past the ruse now, Dan. It's my dad. About, I was explaining how I had to defend myself against book bans.
Yeah.
And I will probably be going on the Ari Velshi show on the Book Ban Club in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
And that I heard him talking to Oscar. They weren't doing it deliberately out. Like, I just happened to be, in this one room about 4 feet away. Yeah. And he was like, and you know how Maureen is wrong about, trying to fight this book banning thing. And So I made him try to explain it to me.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
And he said that it's their First Amendment right to say that. I was like, sure, they can say whatever they like. They can't just take the books away, though. They can't try to take the books away. He's like, but it's their First Amendment right to try to do that. I'm like, that is the point of the First Amendment, is that you can't do that. Yeah, you can say it. You can't just remove other people's speech. And he's like, well, I'm not going to get into a philosophical argument with you.
That's how a lot governmental level, specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I try to explain that. And there's it didn't go, I mean, could things have gone differently? Sure things could be going different.
Yeah.
Am I getting interrupted every 45 minutes or 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 10 minutes? I found this back scratcher. Take me to the store. Can I do this weird thing now? I want to show you this. What are you doing? What do you want for dinner? It's 8 a.m. What do you want for dinner? Like, do it. Is it a little much, Dan? Is it a little much? I mean, it might be a little much, Dan. Do I want to go home? I mean, I might want to go home with this.
Well, the good news is you're heading home.
Maybe.
Well, that's good. What's the maybe?
Well, I am going.
Okay.
It's just that the UN General Assembly is happening, and Biden is speaking today.
Oh,
which
perfect.
means that the east side of New York is they actually give these gridlock alerts, but the guy who owns the K9 cars is like, yeah, it's really crazy today. Netanyahu will also be speaking this week, and I imagine that day will be the most gridlock, but I don't know what day that is. I have to look that up. Which day he's going to be there. Because that's going to be...
Yeah, it's going to be a
sticky
shit show.
But Dan, we are 25 minutes in.
We are.
And we haven't gotten to something that's,
Surprisingly closer to home than I would expect.
Sayswhovia, we owe you an explanation. We should have looked up the episode number. Did you look up the episode number by any chance?
This was before we numbered them. I did look up the date.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
For it. You start.
Well, can you tell me the date?
Well, yes. October 26th, 2016.
October 26th. That seems like it would have been around the 6th episode.
Yeah, I think so.
October 26th, that would have been very close to the... Well, what we want to talk to you guys about is we want to discuss the fact that a guest of ours from October 26, 2016, in our initial run of 8 episodes.
Yeah, where we talked to important journalists every week.
Oh, I see it's here in the notes. You actually say it.
Yeah, it's in the notes.
I have to go back and forth because I'm just on my laptop because I'm in Philadelphia. Well, she's been caught sexting with Robert Kennedy Jr.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Olivia Nuzzi.
Yep.
Who we interviewed 8 years ago.
Yep.
She would have been very young.
Extraordinarily young.
Yeah,
I believe she was signed, like she started working for the Daily Beast before she was of legal drinking age. Okay. So very young, very up and coming, rising star in journalism. Writes, profiles. I believe when we spoke to her, she had written a profile of Trump and she had lots of good goss about how kind of worn Trump Tower was and all of that. Like that's kind of her job is I'm going to write kind of goss heavy stuff. I will say I'll go ahead and announce this now. Okay. Olivia Nuzzi is how I got Rudy's phone number.
Oh.
Yeah. So she knows how to work a crowd. Like she knows, like she's good at her job in terms of being a goss journalist. Like I wrote her and I was like, hey, you've got Rudy's number, right? And she was like, here it is. So, it's helpful. Anyway, so this came out Friday night.
I will
New
say
York Magazine.
Over the years, it feels like her profile has changed a bit.
Yes.
She is, or we, yeah. So, yes. So, yes. So, we don't want to, I mean, you guys,
it's just gross in the head. I'm like thinking about it. It's gross.
Look.
But it came out Friday night that she works for New York Magazine now and that she was going on leave because she revealed to her editors that she had been in a relationship with a subject, which then was revealed to be RFK Jr., who, let's just remember, put a dead bear in his car, drove it to Central Park, staged a bicycle accident for the lols, saw a dead whale on a beach, cut its head off with a chainsaw, strapped it to the roof of his car, and drove home with, quote, whale juice dripping down the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Virulent anti-vaxxer.
Had a brainworm. Eats roadkill.
Has skin the texture of that couch in your grandparents' basement that
very, very nice loafer.
I don't think there's anything nice. I'm imagining sort of a cracked vinyl couch, I think is exactly what his skin feels like.
Like a crock.
I have, for a long time, I have assumed that man smells exactly like what my mother's purse smelled like in the 80s, which is like cheap leather, loose cigarettes, and double mint gum.
I would say it's like a Ballsack filled with musky potpourri, like for prom. It's like a kind of tobacco, it's supposed to smell like a men's smoking lounge, but
It's
for
always
whatever
with the
reason.
Ballsack with you.
Well, look at him. Do you see where I'm getting it, though?
Anyway, so that first night, it was like, oh my goodness. And then it was revealed that it was never a physical relationship, which somehow made it worse.
Yeah. The stories are messy, to say the least.
Very, very messy. Anyway, it's just too gross to even talk about.
Well, she is no longer in her job.
Has she been fired? I think
she was placed on leave. I don't know if...
Yeah, I think that she's still on leave.
Her engagement's off because she was engaged.
Yeah. She was engaged to...
a regular?
Well, another kind of goss-heavy journalist.
Okay, but not RF. I would consider anyone not RFK Jr.
Well, yeah.
There was an article, a very messy article, and I believe this is from the Daily Beast that I was reading about this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm only going to read you the second quote because I'm going to read you both of them, you guys. This is from the Daily Beast because we just showed up. For 8 months, Kennedy kept Nitzy blocked, except for when she would allegedly contact him from different email addresses and phone numbers, insisting that they speak about an imminent hit piece. Once unblocked, she bombarded him with increasingly pornographic photos and videos that he found difficult to resist. But that's not the quote I really love.
Okay.
This is the quote that I love. In 2014, the same year that Cheryl Hines and Kennedy wed, it was revealed that during his second marriage, he had the contact information for dozens of women filed in an alphabetical list under the letter G. Mary Richardson Kennedy claimed the letter was short for Gumar, Italian slang for mistress.
Classy.
Hines was in that list.
Okay. In college, my friend Paul had a little Rolodex, and under M for mustache, he had a little fake mustache. So whenever he needed to find his fake mustache, he could just look it up in his Rolodex.
I mean, I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah. It was smart. It was a good system.
I'm stealing that for something.
Meanwhile, Maureen.
Guys, look for that in something because that's the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Paul is brilliant. Paul won a MacArthur Genius Grant.
Obviously.
A year ago, I think. Not for putting his mustache in a Rolodex under M for mustache, but he should have gotten it then. Instead, he had to have a whole art career for a couple decades.
I wonder if he was... my friend Kelly won, I think, that same year.
Could be.
Kelly Link, the author, the writer.
Let's find out.
Okay.
Because that would be a very funny coincidence, wouldn't it?
I never watched Jeopardy, but my parents keep it on. And
she was class of 2018. My guy was was a more recent class.
She was more recent than that. My mom had it on while I was making the pie, and I just looked over at the screen and I went, hey, that's my friend Dana. Dana Schwartz, the writer, was on Jeopardy. And just as I walked by, so it made it seem like just, I casually knew people on the TV.
Speaking of that, in better news, former guests of this podcast, Mark Gagliardi was on Jeopardy not that long ago. Yeah, so good job,
That's awesome.
Mark Gagliardi. My MacArthur genius, Paul Chan, was class of 22. So 4 years later. But ships passing in the night. Anyway, Maureen Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
In other disgusting sex news,
I think, Dan, this is a real week we're learning that some freaks are harder to match than others. And now I guess we got to get into that.
yeah, North Carolina gubernatorial candidate and current Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson, was revealed by CNN last week as having been a frequent poster on a porn site's message boards a few years ago. Now, first of all, Maureen, porn sites have message boards.
Yeah.
You have to be really committed to, one, discover that, and two, decide that you're going to be a poster.
You want to record that. You want to make sure that you have a digital record.
Second of all, the porn
no
site
shade if you
was
do.
called...
Maybe there's a certain ones that have... There are probably certain ones that have really thriving communities.
I'm sure.
But is this one of those?
Well, it was called Nude Africa, so I think it's going to be bringing a particularly committed group of folks, I guess.
Maybe.
Don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway, well, in his posts...
It attracted this guy.
It did attract this guy, who referred to himself in the post as a black Nazi, which is great. He wrote about peeping into women's gym showers as a 14-year-old, quote, "I went peeping again the next morning, but after that I went back, the ladder was locked. So those 2 times were the only times I got to do it. Ah, memories." He wrote about loving transgender porn. I'm not going to read the quotes on that one, but it is good to point out that he is outspokenly anti-trans.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with enjoying transgender, sex-positive erotica.
Sure.
It's a beautiful thing. This man is not framing it in a beautiful way.
No. In case you think, Maureen, that maybe he only wrote about sex stuff on this, let me check my notes, porn message board called Nude Africa, he also wrote about Martin Luther King Jr., quote, "Get that fucking commie bastard off the National Mall." He wrote, "I'd take Hitler over any of the shit that's in Washington right now." It goes on and on and on and on and on. He posted it all under the username of Mini Soldier or Solder. I don't know. MINISOLDR. It's missing a vowel, which he uses frequently across the internet, including his current Twitter account and things like that. There's also a lot of evidence in his profile there and in the posts themselves. According to CNN, in his profile, Mini Soldier listed his full name as Mark Robinson and disclosed a private email address that Robinson has used elsewhere online. In 2012, a user responded to a comment that the Mini Soldier had made by calling him Mark. Mini Soldier mentioned in 2008 being married for 18 years, which corresponds with Robinson's marriage to Yolanda Hill in 1990. In 2011, Mini Soldier wrote that he had been married 21 years. Mini Soldier wrote in a 2011 post that he lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, the same town where Robinson lived at the time and currently lives. In a post in 2012, Mini Soldier said he served in the Army in the 1980s during the same time period as Robinson. Maureen, let me just point something out.
I want you to point it out, but don't point too hard.
This, CNN's documentation of how they repeatedly corroborated that this user is probably Mark Robinson, is my porn. This is the best shit ever.
You
just
know what?
Keep giving me this.
As you were outed as Mayor Emanuel.
Yeah.
I mean, they looked for you, Dan. They hunted you.
Did. Yeah, they couldn't find me.
They caught you eventually, but it was a beautiful chase.
No, they never caught me.
I thought it was in it was in the metadata of an email, wasn't it?
No, so one dude, no journalist, one dude figured it out and wrote me and was like, "Hey, you should delete this one thing." The journalist that revealed it was somebody that I reached out to.
Was it Olivia Nutzi?
No, it's not. It was not. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on his name right now. I feel so bad about that.
15-year-old Olivia Nuzzi discovers identity of internet man posing as Mayor Emanuel, telling story about living in igloo.
Alexis Madrigal. That's who it was.
Okay.
Anyway, in a post in 2012, Mini Soldier said he served in the Army in the 1980s during the same time period as Robinson. In his sexually graphic comments detailing watching women in the showers in 2011, Mini Soldier wrote that his mother worked at a historically black college and university. Robinson's mother worked as a custodian at North Carolina A&T State University and HBCU located in Greensboro. Both Mini Soldier and Robinson often posted about the same topics online, including reviews for remote-controlled helicopters, their attraction to specific celebrities, and their favorite Twilight Zone episode. The Mini Soldier username was also posted reviews of products and places. Robinson has also publicly recommended. On Amazon, a user named Mini Soldier reviewed products frequently shared by Robinson on Facebook, including, once again, remote-controlled helicopters. At the same email address and username used on Nude Africa, he also left reviews on Google for 2 local businesses Robinson later posted on Facebook that he used. This is my personal favorite. Robinson's unique choice of language further links him to the Mini Soldier alias on the pornographic forums. Uncommon phrases such as gag a maggot, dunder spacehead. So it's like putting a space in the word dunderhead.
Right.
I don't give a frog's ass, and I don't give 2 shakes of it were used by both Mini Soldier on Nude Africa and by Robinson on his personal Facebook page.
I love it. That's classy.
I could have read their documentation for hours, Maureen. It was the best. Because
I want you to have something you enjoy.
They also sent an email to the email address, right? And he wrote back. So, like, you would think that would be enough. But no, they were like, we're going to do this times a billion. Just beautiful, wonderful amazingness. In case, Maureen, you think this might be disqualifying for him, all of this came out the same day that the deadline to withdraw would have been. So he did not withdraw. And he has kind of doubled down. Almost his entire campaign staff has quit. But also, this guy has been a piece of shit publicly for years. I'm not reading these quotes because honestly, they're sort of more awful than the ones on Nude Africa. He is anti-Semitic, he's homophobic, he's anti-woman, he's anti-trans. He made fun of the Parkland shooting survivors. All of this was very public and known, and he still won the primary with Trump's backing. The Trump campaign has since sort of tried to distance themselves in the last week from him. A little difficult to do when he literally spoke at the RNC in a prominent spot just a month ago. So, there's that. That is a very tight race for the governorship in North Carolina and a very, very tight race for the presidency there. If North Carolina is one of the states that everyone says, if you win it, you might just win the presidency. Along with Pennsylvania and a couple others. So it is possible that if this sends a few people away from the polls that would have voted for Robinson and Trump,
right,
that could easily clinch the race for Harris there.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a real deal October surprise, dropped a few weeks before October.
These 2 things together, I'm going to take out my glasses for that because I want to look outside at the peacefulness, Dan.
Okay.
The creek is still and beautiful. There are leaves kind of floating on it. I've seen many tortoises or little turtles out there. They're real cute. There's a whole little group of them right outside. You never know, do you? You never know. You never know what people are going to be up to.
You never know.
I mean, would we have ever anticipated having one of our interviewees trying to get with
RFK Jr.?
Whenever I think of him, I think of the little worm in the apple car.
I mean, correct.
I know that someone else is, but truly that is like the mental thing that comes up is the little worm in the apple
The
car.
little Richard Scarry worm in the apple car. Which
Right.
Richard Scarry animal and car did you think was the coolest?
Oh, the apple car for sure. But maybe I'm not remembering the other cars because
I
the
was a
apple
pickle
cars.
car kid.
Oh, I should look up all their cars.
The pickle car was really my number
Hold
one.
on.
Always.
Man. Let's see. Richard Scarry cars. Let's see what else we got. The apple. Oh, the pickle is good. If you haven't gotten involved with Richard Scarry, get in just help your okay. There's some new those are new because that's a crock. But if you've ever seen the little picture of a worm driving an apple,
Richard
there's an
Scarry's
alligator.
Busy Town, right? Like that was his whole thing.
Busy Town. Yeah. I should get a Richard Scarry tattoo. That would be beautiful. If you're gonna get one, get the little worm in the apple car. That'd be pretty great.
Pickle car.
There's an alligator car. There's an that looks like there's a pickle truck as well. Beautiful.
I mean, there should be.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
I like the little mouse in the peanut car too. That one's pretty
beautiful stuff. We're trying to clean our brain, aren't we?
Yes. Yes.
Because it's been a real one this week, and
it has been a week. It's been a wild ride of a week.
It has been.
We are also just a month and 2 weeks,
mm-hmm.
little less, I think, than from the actual election.
Yeah,
that's some wild shit.
How do you feel?
I think this week, and I think this was true for a lot of people, this week is the week that the high wore off for me. You know, the sort of the unexpected turn of events, the sort of feeling of boundless and endless momentum. This week is the week that kind of cooled off, where it was like, oh, right, this is still going to be a fucking slog. Like, this is still going to be super close, even though it shouldn't be, you know, and, you know, there's just been a lot of reporting that I probably should avoid, but I don't, about sort of the various scenarios, which states you need to win, which states, you know, it really kind of boils down to probably 3 states total, one of which is the state you're currently sitting in.
Yep. Hence the calls by the pollsters, the signs. They clearly brought all their signs here. This is the area they want, and you can feel it. I will say that what becomes obvious as you drive and look around is that Trump, it is a signature of Trump people that they desperately need you to know about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, I think there are absolutely Harris voters here, and they're just like, okay, shut up. Like, just do your weird thing. You know, I did. I had a intense, weird conversation with my dad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful.
Okay.
And I asked him to explain stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he says, he's like, I'm not going to get into the specifics of his style of argument, but I tried to explain, like, you know, what about Trump saying that they take babies that are born and kill them?
Yeah.
And he said, they do. And I said, they don't.
Oh, boy.
They don't do that. And I said, that's not legal anywhere. Nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
And I said, and he said, they are. And I said, where? Tell me where exactly. And he said, in other countries. And I said, okay. I asked about the cats and dogs. He didn't want to talk about the cats and dogs thing. He did say he doesn't like Trump.
Okay.
He's not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
He just really hates the Democrats.
Yeah.
And so he has no choice but to vote for Trump.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And that he actually really loves Nikki Haley. Loves Nikki Haley.
Yep.
So, and he's like, well, if Nikki Haley was the candidate, would you vote for her? And I said, no. And he said, why? And I was like, so I don't care for because I don't agree with anything she stands for.
Yeah,
and he
there's
said, like,
that.
what don't you agree with? I don't know. I'm like, now I got to go. What do I got to go? Get a list? I got to get a list of all the stuff that Nick, I'm going to go point by point. You want me to go point by point? He doesn't also have a large tolerance for any kind of complexity in conversations. And by that, I mean anything more than a 15, like not even a 5-second response. And then he kind of gets annoyed. So I'm telling the little tales out of school because there's a lot going on. It's a complicated
So what you're
situation.
saying is it's been a nice, good, relaxing time there. Your head has been reordered in a nice, useful way.
It was for a day. I mean,
Heading
I definitely
back
had
home, ready to do your thing.
Well, I did have a couple afternoons because Oscar was here for a little bit of it. And I had some afternoons where I was like, I am going to organize stuff that I have not had a chance to organize in months.
Yeah.
So I made like lists of things that I could track. Like I made a little database list and I was like, literally, I'm getting all these subscription things. I'm going to start a subscription list. I have a lot of work to do with Oscar against book bans, so I started reading court cases and then putting links to the court cases in a little data, so I can reference like these were decisions about book banning, and because I really have to learn a lot. I want to actually go and read all of these old decisions and look up the best, because getting books on the subject for general readership is actually a little trickier than you'd think. There's not that many. So trying to find books on the subject, there's like a library textbook I'm going to order, and, actually digging into that and like organizing a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
Figuring out exactly what I wanted, how I'm going to work the next 3 months, stuff like that.
Okay.
I had a couple hours of that, Dan.
I'm glad that, that couple hours couldn't have replicated that any other way.
I had to watch it. I was like, I need a couple hours to watch video tutorials on how to do these couple things so I can get them done. Yeah. It was stuff like that where you're like, I literally just need a couple hours to learn how this works or that works so I can figure out how to input this and get this organized. It's just been so such an onslaught of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Maureen rested and ready.
I wouldn't say that. I do say it's less stressful to walk the dog here, and I did get a chance to sit outside a bit.
Okay.
Which I always find I like working outside. I love it. I get a lot done. I find it very calming.
I believe
it. We're going to say, you could do that when you could go. And you
I wasn't going to say that.
You could go somewhere.
I was going to say, Says Who is made possible by you.
By you.
Through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. That's our Patreon, where pretty much every Sunday you get this all over again. You get me and Maureen doing a little thing we call the Town Watch. And that's if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level. That $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail every month, because you become a member of the Says Who Sticker Club. The stickers used to be packed by the team. And we've had a changing of the guard at our house, Maureen. Because now the little dude does it. And now he's psyched. He asked me the other day, he was all, do you have more stickers coming soon? Because he gets paid money, Maureen. He gets $10.
Oh, wow. What does he spend it on?
So we just had near our house, we just had a game store open up. And he is thrilled about that. He bought, before we left on our summer trip, he had gotten some money from his birthday, and he bought a little card game called Not So Neighborly, which is a lot of fun, actually. And they have an expansion, and he wants to buy the Not So Neighborly expansion.
Oh,
yeah. So that's on his list. I keep pointing out to him that I actually think he has enough money already to buy it, but for some reason he refuses to look in his jar where the money is. I don't know why. Kids don't make a lot of sense. Anyway, so you get your stickers now, courtesy of child labor. So good job, me.
Can I make a little tip of the day?
Of course.
For Sayswhovian? My little tip of you may know this already, but you guys, here's the trick. Whatever subscription you have, go in, unless it's like, something like this is for your dialysis. Unless it's like something, really critical. I know that doesn't exist.
I was where this is going.
Just go in and hit the cancel button.
Okay.
And then you'll get the window that's like, are you sure you want to cancel? Why? And then always click it's too expensive, because almost every time they will then send you a window that's like, oh, how about if we just make it 50% less?
Yeah, that's true.
And I just did that when I was cleaning up some, just, tracking credit cards the other day. And I just accidentally saved about $500 just by stumbling along and being like, oh, well, okay, sure, fine.
I do that stupid dance with my internet provider every year or so, where I'm on a promotional rate and then it jumps up, and then I call them and I'm like, hey, I'm going to leave because this is too expensive. And I see that you're offering a promotional rate to a new provider, to a new customer, but you won't give it to me. So maybe I'll just leave and then rejoin under a different email address. And they're like, okay, we can give it to you.
Yeah. This is even easier than that, because usually it takes like under 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's handy.
Just the third window that comes up is like, what if you stay? Like, one was like the New Yorker. I was like, I haven't really been reading it. So I just went to click cancel, and they're like, what if it was just half off?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll fuck with that. And then there was another magazine. I'm like, and they're like, what if it was like 30% off? Okay. And there was one service I signed up for, and I know we didn't get into this, but I needed an image. And I have been now locked into a $50 a month plan for Adobe images that I don't use. And I'm like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And I was like, but if I cancel it, it's like a $250 fee to cancel it. It's sort of more of a pain in the ass. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Adobe is a real piece of shit in that capacity.
So I was like, and I just hit the chat button. I was like, I don't really use this. And they're like, okay, what if we just gave you like 3 months free right now? I was like, okay. So really, through no work at all, except just trying to clean up what other credit cards were connected to, I accidentally saved like about $500. And it took no effort. So I want you to save money. This is a money-saving podcast.
Welcome to Maureen, and thanks for joining Maureen and Dan's Life Hacks.
Yeah. You know what I saw on the TV the other day? Because my parents, like, there's always like Fox on or something.
Yeah.
And Ellen DeGeneres is chilling. She's doing like infomercials.
That feels like the natural trajectory
for, some skincare product.
Sure.
I was like, you have so much money. Why are you doing infomercials?
I think that every time I see a celebrity doing a commercial, period, I'm like, why? Like, LeBron James, why are you doing ads for sports betting? You don't need to. You're good. I don't understand it.
I have heard that George Clooney apparently does Nespresso ads in Europe and gives all the money to like human rights causes.
Right.
Or something. Like, he managed to buy a drone that like found something, like found like some kind of, did like some human rights work. I was like, all right. You know what?
That dude seems like a genuinely good dude.
We're going to pass on that.
Yeah. You got that one. Anyway.
You got that. Yeah.
Our theme music is performed by Ted Leo. Our logo was designed by Darth. You can contact us at Says Who Podcast on Threads or at Says Who at omfg.town on Mastodon. You can email it, hey, that is HEY at sayswhopodcast.com. You can join the discussion on Facebook at /group/Sayswhovians. Our Facebook group is moderated by Janice Dillard. If you want to join the fan-run Discord server, you can always go to tinyurl.com/sayswhodiscord. But whatever you do, spread the word, subscribe, leave stars and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen. And you can join us next week, October 2nd. I feel like September went by real fast, Maureen.
It just kind of melted.
I don't even understand it. This was a month that just sort of obliterated instead of passed.
She flaked away like the flaky crust they make on a pie.
Anyway, join us on October 2nd for our very next episode. And from my basement in beautiful fall-like Chicago, I am Dan Sinker.
And soon I will be back in New York City, greatest city in the world, where nothing's going wrong.
No.
I am driving. We're going back directly into the into UN traffic.
Oh, perfect.
So that is.
You should have little Maureen flags that you stick on the front of your driver's car, so you look
what would be on them? The little Amy Carter
face.
shoe. Oh, just me. Well, I want to see the shoe car.
Okay.
It looks like her, and she's driving it.
It's like a Richard Scarry car.
Yes, except that there's not a different animal, and it's just her in her own car.
Her driving her car. Yeah, it's true. I like it.
You asked earlier about why always the Ballsack.
Oh, no.
I know why. I was looking at that RFK guy. I don't know. Mama, I get it. I get it. I get it. I got you, Olivia. I see what you see. I get it, girl. That's right. You thought I wasn't going to come out. Here I am. Yummy, yummy. Leathery. That doesn't stretch, though. That looks like he cracks. What I like about my man is that it's stretchy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, boing, boing, boing. That guy looks like he just crumbled to dust. Like when you sit on a couch and it cracks. Like that. No, thank you.
This
Maybe
has
Mama
been
don't like.
Says Who. I feel so sick now.